Hey,
Hi, Tommy.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm getting a bit tired, I guess, but that's the hassle of being in a weird time zone.
Yeah, you are. What is it? Midnight, 12:30 there.
Yeah, 12:30.
Well,
Uh,
it's 4:30 here, and I'm as spry as I can be. So
you're fresh out of work?
fresh out of work. Yeah,
Yeah.
just drove home and grabbed a a cold drink on the way home. It's a nice warm day here, so I'm excited to get to know you and to chat with you.
Awesome. So, what's the temperature like in is it which city is it again?
Yeah, I'm in Calgary, Alberta.
Yeah.
So out west, close to the Rockies, and today I think it was about 24 degrees Celsius, which for me is pretty hot.
Oh, yeah.
We we uh, we don't get up too high in the Rockies here. Maybe 30 might be like a heat wave.
Yeah, so it's probably a bit like the Norwegian climate, I guess. We have a lot of snow and they use tons of salt in the winter, and you have a lot of rain, and it's a nice day if you have 30 degrees. Do you use the Celsius or the Fahrenheit scale?
We do Celsius in Canada.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a bit more reasonable than the Americans, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we're a little mixed up though because I never measure myself in kilograms. I
Okay.
drive in kilometers, but I actually know 0 to 60 times are more important to me than 0 to 100 times. We're all over the place, us Canadians.
Yeah.
We're caught in the middle.
Yeah, that's good, but it's at least you're not driving on the left side. So,
Are we? No, yeah, we
yeah,
are driving on the right side. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I had to think about that.
So that's a good start.
Yeah.
I noticed the recording started automatically, but what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna cut out the beginning here.
All
We
right.
just have a sort of pre-recording chat. Um, so just to give you the sort of the gist of what this is about, it's uh, the idea is to have I own and operate a detailing, not a detailing company, but we sell detailing supplies
Okay.
in Norway. So we're pretty fresh. I had a small company that we converted into a larger company. I have 2 employees working with warehouse management and one girl for content creation. And I guess the idea is to have content that sort of sets us out from the say the competition, because they have a lot of uh, content that is purely sales driven, only to sell products, which is that's not really my motivation for selling products. Of course, it's sort of a nice side effect of doing the stuff, but the thought behind it is to provide value to whoever's watching the content, instead of having a bottle of shampoo and pushing it in their face. um, so in that thought, I have always wanted to have well, I've been running a Norwegian podcast about detailing for 2 years. So we're the longest running and the only one publishing weekly episodes here in Norway. And I guess it's a small scene because there's 5 million Norwegians. So in a lot of countries, that's just a small city.
Yeah.
um,
I
but
had no
I
idea your population was only 5 million.
yeah, 5.5, I think. So it's not that much, but the interest in cars have been increasing quite drastically, and also the average value or the average price of cars is also pretty high. So you have a lot of people caring about their cars and wanting to keep them in
Right.
the best possible conditions. But the thing I've noticed is that here in Norway, we don't really have any. I don't know how you look at your YouTube personality, but I'd call it a detailing influencer, if that's
Huh. Yeah.
something like
Okay.
that. Because
I'll take it.
yeah, we don't have those here in Norway. The people making videos and content in Norway, they are doing so because they want to sell products. So we don't have anyone doing what you do. Um, so
I see.
in order, we have some people, but they're just they're on Facebook and they're posting some pictures. They're not doing any videos, and they don't have the attention to detail that I've seen in your videos. So I guess I can't remember when I first saw one of your videos, but it's probably, I don't know when you started, but maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, could be. I
I,
think that's when I started 2 or 3 years ago. I started becoming more regular with my uploads, but the channel
yeah.
actually turned my first upload. I got an email today from YouTube, a notification saying it's been 5 years to the day that I made my first YouTube upload.
Well,
So yeah, I'm celebrating my 5-year anniversary as a
congratulations.
YouTube influencer.
But I've, you know, the type of content that you're creating is, I guess the reason people watch it is because they like to see going from dirty and not that good looking to clean and nice and good looking, enjoying the process of watching how you get there. So I
Yeah.
don't know if you're, um, because a lot of the content you're putting out, you have full on details from what I can see. And I guess that's also maybe differs a bit from a lot of the stuff other people are putting out, because um, it I sort of, I believe it's a bit more genuine. Instead of having an agenda with making the content, you just put out whatever feels
Yeah.
right for you, or is the way I feel about it.
Yeah, Tommy, I'd say you have a very clear understanding of what it is I do. Um, I really use the YouTube channel as a way of celebrating what I do.
Yeah,
I'm not the other way around like a lot of people that sit back and sort of, formulate a plan of what should I do. I just
yeah,
sort of, I'm a teacher, you know this. I teach full time. I enjoy detailing on the side as a hobby, and through the channel, I've got to meet a lot of people who
yeah,
appreciate what I do. And so, for instance, this summer, I was contacted by many people about, would you possibly be interested in detailing my car? And I was like, yeah, let's do it.
yeah,
And so I do that stuff because I enjoy doing it, and then I enjoy turning it into a video opportunity. But I don't have a master plan of I should put out a video about this, I should put out a video of that. And it's interesting because in the comments on my videos, I'll get something like, could you please do a 2006 Dodge Charger? It's like,
yeah,
that's not how I work. Can you please do a C7 A7 Audi? I'm like, well, if my friend buys one and phones me and wants me to detail it, you will see me do an A7 Audi. So it's sort of what I do in the garage comes first. And that's really all I care about. And then whatever I'm doing in the garage, whether it's sorting out my microfiber towels or doing a full inside outside detail on a RS5 like I did this past weekend, I turn it into a video.
yeah. So
So
it's not, you're not creating the content. The content is created by documenting what you're actually doing, and I
exactly.
think that's part of the success.
Thank you.
You probably don't have any goals as to how many subscribers and views and everything. It's just a cool thing to have.
It's hard not to get caught up in the numbers, I'll tell you, because
Yeah,
people judge success by numbers, and a lot of comments I get start to get in my head, and it's like, why don't you have as many subscribers as this guy? Why are you only at 15,000 subscribers? And it starts to wear away at you, and you're like, yeah, why don't I? Why aren't
yeah,
I a large success? But I'm very fortunate in that this is just a hobby for me.
yeah,
But I can see people who are in the detailing industry and understand the power of YouTube, how that can really start to influence what it is you do.
yeah,
Where like we were just talking about, I just sort of let the content create itself by virtue of what happens to me on a daily basis. So
mm.
it's unique, I think.
But have you does YouTube give you like a estimate on the growth of your channel? Is that are they sort of pushing this expectation of growing onto you, or is it do they have a more
I think
passive?
I don't know as much about YouTube as probably a lot of people do. I just get an analytics report that I look at. It tells me how many new subscribers I gained that day or that month.
Yeah,
I look at how many views my latest upload has had. And I will admit I've been a little preoccupied with that lately, because I've often heard that if you want to grow your viewership, consistency is the key. And
yeah,
putting out consistent videos is something that I've struggled with, because I don't consistently do details. I don't consistently spend time in my garage. The summer is obviously my big busy time. So I was able to put out quite a few videos this summer. So I've been really sort of seeing where those videos go and how many viewers it brings to the channel. And it has been a very good month. Like, it's definitely been my greatest. July of this year had been my greatest month in the number of views, the number of new subscribers. I kind of made an informal goal in my mind that wouldn't it be great if I went back to school in the fall and I had a 20,000 subscriber YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite get there, but
I think
give it a month or two.
I don't have any. Well, we have a YouTube channel, but it's just a mean of communicating the content that we want to know, to spread the competence and to give people the confidence that we're a nice shop to buy stuff in. So for our sake, it's more of a platform for creating content, and not, well, we are documenting what we're doing, but it's more of the other way around. But the idea is that we're also wanting to have more of an organic reach where people actually can look at the video of how to do some maybe a bit more specific, like this is how you clean a leather steering wheel, and then we can have people looking at that without having the product focus on the video, because that's not our focus. But I guess also, as you say, you have your best month that you've ever had. That's really exciting, because I'm not a big YouTube. I don't spend hours on YouTube watching stuff, but I've seen what you say, that if you are consistent on what you put up, YouTube recognizes the interaction that the viewers have with your channel, and they can see that, okay, you're putting out X videos per week, per month, whatever, and then they notice that, okay, the viewers, they watch the video for a certain percentage of the length of the video, and then they know that, okay, people stay on YouTube for watching your content, and they push the like button and they comment on the video, and then I guess the algorithm sort of kicks in and maybe gives the video a life of its own. I had a quick look yesterday at your videos. Is it the A6 detail that is the one that's has the most views?
And that really made no sense to me, and still sort of the friend of mine, his name's Daniel, that's his car. He was chatting to me the other day, and I said, hey, by the way, your video is still my all-time most viewed video, and he thinks it has something to do with him, his popularity. Okay. We can't figure out why certain videos just take off, and other videos that I feel deserve more attention, they just sort of grind to a halt. It's almost a cruel game YouTube plays.
I guess in some ways it would be better not to have the view count on the videos, because then you could use all your focus on creating content instead of looking at the views. But
yeah, there's a part of me that, the vanity and the ego of it all, it does start to get to you. It's luckily I have a wife who keeps me very grounded in reality. And when I walk into the house after finishing a detail and I act like a rock star, she says, would you please go get some bread, Mr. Rockstar? The dog just took a crap in the backyard. Could you go pick it up? So
Mr. YouTube detailer.
I was a single guy and I had a YouTube channel. I'd start to think I was quite the big shot, but
yeah, so it's probably nice having a wife to ground you. I have the same I'm lucky to have the same kind of wife. It's you need some people that can keep you down and maybe give you some expectations that are realistic, because it's easy to get caught up in something and think you're going to dominate the entire world, I guess.
Yeah, well, I have been very fortunate since I began sharing my garage life on YouTube. I have, for some reason, maybe it's the good Lord above, but I've been blessed with viewers who are very gracious and very kind. And a few of my friends, they wonder about that. They're like, why is it that you have like this group, this like hardcore group of supporters that are always complimentary? Why it's not the norm. On a lot of channels, you'll see snipers and trolls. It happens very rarely on my channel, and it can get in your head that, holy cow, I am somebody special. So it's good that I have to go get bread. It's good that I have to pick up my dog's poop, because, when someone says you are the best detailer in the world and you walk in the house and go, hey, honey, I've got news for you. It's nice to get that grounding. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. So is it the YouTube channel, is it how much time are you spending on creating content? Or, well, that's the wrong angle, because you're not creating content, you're documenting what you're doing. What?
Yeah, the two have started to go hand in hand a little more, right?
Yeah.
So now that I can create more content, I can pump up more videos. That increases my views, which makes me want to, you know, I was a very busy beaver here for the last 6 or 7 weeks. But yeah, it's been the busiest I've ever been. And the amount of time I've spent editing videos was a bit of an issue, I think. You know, my son asked me once, like, "What, Dad, are we going to go to that place?" And I snapped at him a little bit. I was like, "Listen, I'm busy, okay?" And I thought,
Yeah.
oh, geez, I don't want this to become ahead of anything else, right? Down the road, we don't know where things will go. But right now, this is a hobby that I want to keep a hobby, and I
Yeah.
want to enjoy it for what it is. And I don't want to get overly ambitious and lose sight of, you know, the charm that I think exudes through my channel. Like you said, I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to,
Is
yeah.
it, I guess, the cool thing about YouTube is that it is actually realistic to have, I don't know if you're monetized your channel, but you can, you probably need quite a lot more views, but it's possible to make a nice living off of it. But then again, that's sort of scary because it can go away overnight.
Oh,
Um,
I've seen, yeah, that would be a very fickle, that's a fickle industry to get into.
yeah. But
You know, there's a
I
guy,
guess if you could maybe, just an angle, if you get to a point where you can have a small side income from YouTube, you could spend that money paying someone to edit the videos, so you can, instead of getting caught up in the editing, you can. But that, yeah, then again, you probably lose the.
I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
I like the way I like them, and I like doing the videos. So
Yeah.
I've had my wife or my son try to help me. Within 5 minutes, I'm like, "Get out of here! You're not doing it." And they're like, "Well, don't ever ask me to help again." And I'm like, "I won't." I
But that being said, I have to compliment your son, because I watched the Dream Garage, the Detailers Dream Garage, and boy, he knows how to handle a camera.
yeah, he was pretty proud of himself. So was I.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did a good job.
yeah. I don't know what it was. It's all of a sudden he became this really good. Well, you know what he's been doing is what a lot of kids have been doing during the pandemic is they've been on TikTok and creating lots of videos to keep themselves entertained. So he has a pretend YouTube channel.
Oh,
So I'll
okay.
hear him upstairs going, "Hey guys, welcome to the Sam channel." So I think this whole pretend vlogging thing sort of paid off for him on that one. Yeah,
But is he?
he's only 9.5. I think in
Yeah,
a couple of years he'll be a pretty good apprentice.
yeah. So
Yeah,
he's becoming a sort of a mini Rick in the
yeah, he is.
making.
He's becoming obsessed with cars and driving now. He wants to get his learner's license the day he turns 14. We're allowed to get our learner's licenses here,
Yeah.
and he's already started to read the book on the rules of the road. So yeah, he's my son for
As
sure.
long as he doesn't take the keys and go for a drive, I guess that's perfectly fine. We
That's,
had one case here close by where a 7-year-old snuck out.
oh
And,
wow.
yeah, that's
Well, I hope not. I hope not. I hope I've raised him better than
yeah, hopefully.
that.
Okay, so might be that I'm not actually going to cut out as much of this, because it's a nice start on the episode, the chat we had here. But I
I
do
agree.
have a couple of questions, or a couple of topics that we can go around. I haven't set a specific time frame for the episode. I think it's just taking it on the gut feeling, as we say here in Norway.
Got some free time. Yeah, let's go for it.
So basically, this concept is something I've called "Inside a Detailed Mind." Is the sort of I guess it's still a working title, but I think it's something that fits the agenda of the show, that I want to pick your mind, or the guest's mind, about what is it that makes you do what you do, what is it that gives you the drive and the passion, and uh, just talk loosely about that, because it's, for me, it's if it's business or hobby or personal, I like talking to people, and I like getting to know, what was it is it that turns your gears. And I think a lot of people in the detailing industry or in the car care business, there's a lot of shady stuff, but a lot of us are doing it well, you're not per se in the industry, since you're not actually making money from it, but you're bitten by the same bug that we all have. So getting to sort of having an understanding of how people in the detailing scene are put together, and the screws they have loose, because I've been told I'm not uh, particularly well put together in the
Yeah.
yeah. My
We are
wife
definitely
says that.
unique. Yeah. And you know, when you meet someone who shares the same unique characteristics, you know it.
Yeah.
So I've come to know in the last few years many people who have a like mind as mine, and I've always been somebody who likes to do what you're doing and pick the mind of people to see what makes them tick.
Yeah.
And I've had many conversations with people, because when people come to my garage, they have questions, right? Like
Yeah.
what's going on here? Like,
There's
this
so
isn't
much
normal.
history in the, I guess everything you put up in the garage has a lot of thought behind it, so you can talk for
Yeah.
days about why
Yeah.
it did stuff.
And I can go back in my life and I can pick out moments in my life where things made a mark on me and sort of helped create the mindset that I have today that's created this. So, and I've had conversations a lot, and I like to I don't want to tell people the same story. So over the last 3 or 4 years, I've got that question a lot, right? Like, what makes you
Yeah.
tick? Why do you do this? And there's a lot of things, but when I was growing up, I had a father who wanted to be organized,
Yeah.
but just lacked the patience and the time to do that. And so a lot of that fell upon me, because I could tell he, like, let's use the garage for instance. When I was young, we always had garages, but they were places where things were stored from the house. They sort of became the catch-all area for the family house, and they were never organized. And I remember in grade 9, I was about 14 years old, and I had the day off school for some reason. I thought, I'm going to go organize my dad's garage for him. And I actually took a lot of the car posters that I didn't have room for that were in my desk, and I put them up on the wall in the garage. And when he came home, he was just so like blown away by, wow, this looks so amazing. And I remember thinking, okay, this, that left a mark on me. And
Yeah.
we moved a lot when I was a kid, and there was one neighbor in one house we lived in who had like the dream garage when nobody had dream garages. And
Yeah.
it wasn't a large garage, it was just your regular North American double-sized garage, but he had 2 beautiful Japanese cars. He parked them perfectly. He had a toolbox and a bench. And I remember mowing the lawn one day and looking at our garage. This was a different house. It was a little disorganized. I looked at his garage and I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to have a nice garage. And, we built this house. This is the first house we ever owned. We only rented apartments
Yeah.
when I was 39 years old. And I thought, here it is. Here's my opportunity. And, so all those sort of little lessons I learned along the way, all those little interactions have sort of manifested themselves in what I have here today. So
how old were you when you were mowing the lawn and realized I'm gonna be that guy?
14.
14. So it's been a long process, and I guess it's been a chase to get to where you are today, sort of, to have the
I've had to be very patient with myself. For years and years, my wife and I lived overseas. We worked at international schools,
yeah.
and we were very fortunate to do so, but we lived in school apartments, and it was never a home of our own. And I was like, I'm never going to have a garage, because I thought for sure we would stay overseas forever. But we came home from Japan in 2008, and I was like, let's get a house.
Yeah.
Let's put down some roots. And that's when I remember it rekindled, garage. And so when you build a new home in Canada, I don't know what it's like in Norway, but sometimes you can have a lot of input into how things are put together. And
Oh yeah.
obviously we cared about all the areas of the house, but when it came down to the garage, I said to the sales lady, I said, I'm really into garages. Are you guys going to be able to work with me? And she was like, we can do anything you want. And they pretty much could. But
is it common to have this is a sidetrack, but is it common to have a lot of freedom when you design the houses, or is it regulated by city?
more and more, I think, because new home sales are so competitive here, that the owner, that is the thing. The people building these homes, they've got input, right? We watch that Home and Garden television It's like the most popular network here in North America. So people see what they want, and they want to work with a builder who's going to work with them.
Yeah.
So I haven't heard of a new home builder that would reject a homeowner's ideas. It's just a matter of, are they going to be fair with the pricing of those upgrades? So
yeah, I think here in Norway, it's there's a lot of apartments and what's it called, buildings where you have maybe 2 or 4 small houses in one, or apartments in one, where everything is sort of carved in stone, but you can change the interior, etc. But a lot of the houses that are getting built are on you buy a lot or a property, and then you can do whatever you want, more or less.
You got a lot more freedom when you have we call them a single family home versus multi-family homes. But even then, like, it is such a competitive housing in Canada is like one of the major, especially where we live in Alberta, it's one of the major industries. So it's highly competitive, and the consumer is highly demanding. So if I wanted this garage to be a foot higher, they would have done it. If I wanted it a foot wider, you know, depends on the lot size, but you know, anything you want, they will do. They just, and in fact, it's a good business model, because then they can just charge the customer more money. So
of course, then you get what you want.
Everyone wins.
I guess I haven't. We have a pretty big house, but we have 2 garages, but they're nowhere near to the standard I would want them to be. But it's not been a priority to put them in that shape yet. But the biggest sort of issue I kind of have with garages here in Norway is, if you have water in the garage, you need to have I don't know what it's called. It's you need to have a sand trap, and then you need to have an oil separator, because it's not allowed to have water without having a drain. And that's kind of a pain in the ass. So having a garage where you can actually wash the car inside, etc., it's a bit complicated.
Yeah, I hear that from European viewers from all over the continent about, you know, I think Europe leads the world when it comes to those kind of, like, that's one thing I admire about Europe, is they've got a long-term vision on how do we keep this planet, whereas we're still over here in North America, you know, woohoo!
Yeah, I was about to say it, but it doesn't help when you have all those jackasses in pickup trucks that drive around spewing out exhaust.
Well, Canada's caught somewhere in the middle between Europe and America, right? We love freedom, but we also like restrictions too. So we're in this constant state of flux here. I could have installed a drain in this garage when we built it. It was just a little out of the price range, but it would have just been tied directly to the storm sewer system, just basically like flushing a toilet. But now I'm starting to hear that the codes are changing. Depending where you are in Canada, they may require a separator. But yeah, we're not nearly as regimented as it is in Europe from the sounds of it.
That being said, I'm not complaining, because if you look to Sweden, parts of Sweden and almost the entire of Germany, you're not even allowed to wash your own car at home.
I heard that today. Yeah.
So I guess it could be worse.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You could be living in Sweden.
Yeah, it could be worse.
I've heard of the tax rates in some of those European countries too, and I'm just like, okay, I'm fine with Canada.
I guess you could also be living in California and having to only do waterless washes, don't use the water. That would also be pretty terrible.
Well, like, there's no perfect place, right?
I
get that in the comments all the time. Like, you're lucky. I think you're lucky, and it's like, no. I always make the joke. I can't live anywhere where there's earthquakes or snakes. And there's very few snakes in Alberta. I haven't seen one for years and years, and I've never experienced an earthquake here in Alberta. So anything else, I'll take it, as long as I don't have to worry about those 2 things.
I think the most another sidetrack, the most dangerous animal we have in Norway is the bee, the yellow one. I don't know if that's what it's called, because of the allergy. They kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have probably the moose, because it kills people if they hit them with the cars. So it's a pretty safe place.
Yeah, I've never been kicked by a moose, but I don't want to be.
No. I'd rather not. So
I wonder who would win, a Norwegian moose or a Canadian moose. I'd probably put my money on the Canadian moose.
I think I don't know if the Canadian moose is a relative of the Alaskan moose, but I've seen some videos of the Alaskan mooses, and boy, those are pretty big.
Yeah, I think they are the same breed, because I see moose once in a while here, just to the west of where I live. one will go meandering across this road, and I'll just be like, you just don't even care. You just you own the road.
You
They're probably 7 or 8, maybe 9 feet tall, like from tail to toe.
You probably need a howitzer or something to kill it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's gonna do some damage. Yeah, we got a little off track there talking about moose. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but it's I guess we have a lot of problems with German tourists stealing all the moose signs there in Norway. You're lucky to not have the Germans driving into Canada, because you'd probably have the same problem.
What, they steal the signs to put them in their house as a decoration?
We have these triangle signs that has a red edge around it, and then they have a picture of a moose. They obviously like to have those on the walls back home.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, no, we don't have to deal with that. We're used to it.
So, you've already mentioned that you are a teacher, and a little bit from your upbringing. Do you have any other sort of personal, or you don't feel obliged to share personal information that you don't want, but anything else from your background that you think is relevant for
right. So how I got to where I am as far as detailing and garage cleanliness and all of that? Well, yeah, I think, and this might be true for a lot of people, but they might not want to admit it. There's a slight disorder to this all. And I think I'm pretty open about how when I get stressed out and I feel like I've lost control of my schedule and the world and things are starting to stress me out, I'll come into the garage and pick a drawer and just start tidying that drawer.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's one behind me. If I'm stressed out, I can open this drawer and just be like, okay, I'm going to reorganize this drawer, and this will bring peace and order to the galaxy. So, you know, people have different ways of dealing with stress. I find that this one at least doesn't cost me a lot of money. Well, not too much, but it doesn't give me a hangover. I'm still coherent when I'm finished. So there is a bit of a therapy, I think, that goes on.
Absolutely.
And I'm not running from anything that happened in my life. It's not any kind of trauma, but I think in a world where there's a lot of pressures on you, and you can feel like I'm not doing good enough at my job, I'm not doing good enough with things, you can come into a space and you can say, but I have this is perfect, you know? Yeah. And I think for a lot of people, they have their own sort of garage, their own place where they, you know, they feel like I have control over this. And
be it a hobby room or a garage, or
here, like during this pandemic and everything, I haven't felt nearly the amount of stress that I probably would if I didn't have this as my outlet.
Yeah. How is that going in Canada, the corona pandemic?
Well, you know, if we compare ourselves to the States, which we basically do for everything, we're doing really, really well. But it isn't a relative thing, right? So I live in Alberta, which is a population of 4 million, maybe a little more. And I think since the outbreak began back in whatever, January, February, March, I think we have something like, it's less than 10,000 cases since then.
Yeah.
The original projections were going to be in the hundreds of thousands. So I was freaking out in March. I was freaking out about it. So we've done a really good job of flattening the curve, but schools have started up. Not all the schools yet, but I think next week after Labor Day, all the schools will be back. But I work at a school that's already back, and you know, it's kind of seeing people together in large groups is something that I hadn't seen in 6 months. So it's got me a little stressed out. But you know, we're a pretty responsible society. There are obviously some selfish people that don't want to wear a mask and they don't care, and no, it's just the flu. But they're really the minority.
I think in many ways that Canada is a lot more similar to European or Scandinavian countries than the US, especially from what I hear in the media.
I will agree. And then tomorrow I will meet someone and I will say, nope, this is just like Texas. Yeah. So Canada is a very diverse country in many ways. You know, we've got the same, but I appreciate that, and I take it as a compliment, because I feel like Canada's caught between NASCAR and Formula One. We don't know. We like Formula One, but damn it, going to a NASCAR race, let's do it. So yeah, I kind of embrace that Canada's all over the map when it comes to those things,
But I think we all have that in us. We all want to be a little bit American, I think.
Yeah, I want to go down to the fishing hole and listen to some Alan Jackson. Like we were talking about that at work today. I love that. And Canada does that too, right? We have, you basically, any life you want, you've got envisioned. There's someone living it in Canada and they're living it well, and all the power to them, you know?
Yeah. I think it's but for sure I think your healthcare system is probably a lot better than the US, and I think that also has a pretty big impact on the way a pandemic is handled, because that's from my understanding one of the biggest issues in the US is how the healthcare system is not working.
Yeah, well, it is universal. I hear a lot of people talk about the free Canadian healthcare, and I have a problem with the word free. We pay for that. Every time you get a paycheck, you can see a piece of it go to this free healthcare. But you know what? I'm very thankful, and for you to bring that up is actually kind of coincidental, because this past weekend I performed a very special detail on my friend Dave's RS5 Audi, and he's a doctor, he's a surgeon, and I met him through detailing. Like he heard through a guy about me, so I've known him for a few years, and when we were back in March and April, and in the real thick and the real fearful part of all of this, I said to him, when this is over, when this calms down, I want to give you a free detail, because at that point, everyone was retreating from the virus, going home, locking down, and these healthcare professionals, I'm going to get a little emotional, they were going to work every day.
Yeah.
And they signed up for it, sort of, by, you know, going into that frame of work, but not an epidemic. So
no.
When he and I didn't talk to him for months, right? Like I was doing my thing, he was doing his thing. And then when he finally said, hey, listen, the summer's almost over. Is there any way you can clean? He's got 2 cars. Can you clean one of my cars? I was like, yeah, I will. And I'm going to make good on my word. And he said, no, you don't have to do that. And I was like, no, I need to do it for me, just so that I know I've given some kind of thanks to these healthcare professionals. And when I see people that are not being respectful of this virus and are being just, you know, let's be honest, they're being stupid. I just think to myself, you have no idea what these healthcare professionals are going through on a daily basis. I've been back at school as a teacher for 3 days, and I feel like I've been on a battleground. You know, I feel like I've been at the front line, and it's nowhere near the front line that the hospital and the healthcare workers are. So I'm very happy that Canada has a good reputation around the world for having a healthcare, and it's all just people, right? Like we have hardworking people, and they're still fighting though. In Alberta, we're not exactly in a place where it's getting all political now.
That's fine.
Is completely supportive of our healthcare system. There's a little bit of a war going on right now with the government that runs the province and the healthcare, and it's when it comes down to it, and you're in an emergency, you don't call a politician, you call a doctor. You know, you call an ambulance. So there you go.
Yeah, but that's a really nice gesture of you to sort of finding a way you can in a way pay back and pay your respects to the people handling this stuff, because it's, as you say, I totally agree that yes, they have sort of sworn an oath as doctors to help people and save lives if they can, but standing in the midst of a pandemic where you have shortages of resources, you don't have the people you need, you don't have the supplies, the masks, the gloves, it's not something that you can take lightly on, because they're basically, I mean, I guess we're kind of lucky that the virus is not the worst virus.
It's not a bold
within 2 days. So it could also always be worse, but still, it's a nasty thing, and standing in the midst of that, it must be really, and for such a long time. It's not something that goes away after 2 weeks.
No, as we're learning,
it's probably going to stay with us for a long time.
So with this project, I was a little conflicted, because I didn't want to just put in my title of the video, Rick saves doctors from paying, like it's not, you know, but I field so many questions about, hey, how much did you charge the guy for this? And these are very awkward questions for me, because I'm not a business. I don't have a price structure. I have a general idea of how much time it's going to take me to do a project. And then I'll say, you know, if it's going to take this much time, I think this is a fair price. But and it's an interesting thing too, because at first I was going to clean his car. I was going to clean it really well, maybe finish it off with a finishing spray wax or some kind of spray sealant. And then as the project was happening, my doorbell rang, and I had been waiting on a delivery from a company in the States called Ethos.
Yeah.
And the package arrived. I'd been waiting for it. It contained the graphene coating
Oh,
that
yeah.
everybody's talking about. And I thought, I'm already 8 to 10 hours into this project. Do I have the time? And I thought, you know what? Dave's a good guy. He's going to be my guinea pig. I'm going to use his RS5 as the guinea pig for my first time applying this coating. But then if you're going to coat a car, you have to make sure the paint is in as good a shape as you can get. So all of a sudden the job just started to grow, and I was like, can I charge him a little bit?
Yeah.
But it's funny, most of the people that have their car detailed, they know that they dropped it off at this time and they picked it up at this time and it looks great. I think what's fun for me is I say to them, in a day or two, you're going to see the video of what happened to your car.
Yeah,
and I imagine that, and I know they enjoy that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's mind blowing. And Dave texted me after he saw the video and he was like, dude, thanks so much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they think they know what goes into these things. And let's be honest, even the video doesn't even capture all of it. But that's what I really like. I really like that. I said to my wife, when he was about to arrive to pick it up, I go, this is the part I like. And she was like, oh, here we go. Always detail. And I said, no, he's coming and he's going to, you know, we're going to see his reaction. And I just feel that immense like pride that, hey, listen, look at what I did. It's pretty impressive what detailers do. And I think detailers are finally, I think, getting the respect in the automotive world that they deserve. Right?
Absolutely.
For years, it was like, oh, well, if you can't swap an engine, you're not a car guy. Well, there's a different kind of car guy now. And he's got science, he's got art, he's got experience. Yeah. And I'm really proud of the detailing community. Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring the graphene coating up, because that's something I wanted to ask you about this. Do you have any thoughts on, and have you tested? I haven't seen that video, but there's a lot of hype going on, and we don't actually have anyone supplying these graphene coatings in Norway yet, but I'm thinking someone probably will pretty soon.
Yeah, I find when I'm busy with projects, I don't have enough time to get on the internet and research everything. But yeah, you got to be living under a rock to know that graphene is this, you know. I know you've chatted with Matt Mormon.
Yeah.
Oh man, he had a good rant a few weeks ago about graphene and how it's no different than ceramic. And
yeah,
you know, there might be people out there that think it's this whole new thing. It's from a new planet in the galaxy, and it's going to make your paint last forever, and you can throw rocks at it, you know. But I think for those of us who know, it's just a new take.
Yeah. On
the ceramic technology. And I'm no chemist by any means, but what I noticed with the graphene is it's very similar to the whole process of coating with a ceramic coating.
Yeah.
I wish I would have had a non-black car to play with the first time, because my vision is starting to get I'm getting a little old and I need to get glasses, but the pandemic has thrown that. I don't want to go anywhere.
No.
So I was looking to see it, like it rainbow. I could see that, but according to the Ethos team, you need to wait for this cloudiness to appear, and then you know that it is bonded, and you can wipe away the excess. And I was like, I don't. Is it cloudy? So I went with time as my factor, and I was running out of time. And this is interesting. So I was doing a panel, and then I would do another panel, and then I'm like, okay, I need to get that other panel off, but when you're doing a door, like you've ceramic coated a car, right?
Yeah, well, a bonnet. I can't actually. That's it.
You what?
Only a bonnet, like the engine cover.
You've only done the hood. Okay, so if you do the hood and then you wipe it away, and then you're like, where was I? Was I right in the middle? So I'm always worried I'm gonna like put too much coating there. So I was doing things in quarters. I would do this quarter, and then this quarter. Wipe this one away, and then this one, and then this one. And anyway, I got myself so confused. I missed a portion of the roof just above the windshield. I think you call it the windscreen. What do you guys call it? And I was like, oh, shoot. So I go back, and it's gone all white and frosty, and I'm like, oh, no, because I heard Brian at Apex Detail. He's somebody that I look up to because he's so smart. He said he needed 3,000 grit sandpaper to remove this coating. I was like, oh shit, I don't want to have to wet sand this car. So luckily it hadn't cured. I'm sure it takes more than 10 minutes to cure, but like it
Yeah.
was all white and chalky. So I think what happened was about halfway through that job, I started to realize what a newbie I was at this.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm ready to give you my honest opinion about graphene, because I think there were a lot of mental things happening with me and my nervousness. I have a feeling it's just as easy as ceramic coatings.
Uh,
Some of them, you know, yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
feeling you were really happy that you had an RS5 to test on. Probably the best feeling in the world. Like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, Dave is a particular guy too. He's
Yeah.
oh yeah, you're just gonna have to ignore that one white chalky patch that I
Okay.
had. I'd
Don't.
never see him again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit of a pressure cooker, but I wish I could keep the car for a while and see how this coating performs. Right, I want to be there with him the first time he takes it to a car wash and just watch the water explode off
Yeah.
the paint. But a lot
I
of times,
guess that's the long-term test to see how it actually compares to ceramic coating.
yeah. So I've kind of resigned to the fact that, you mentioned salt. We have probably 7 months of constant salt on the vehicle. So I've kind of limited my capacity to 1 year for a ceramic coating. If after
Yeah.
a year you think your ceramic coating is still there, I think you're kind of naive here. It's not Florida, it's not, North Carolina. It's brutal and it's so
Yeah.
cold. And then it's warm one day in Alberta. So we don't just have cold, we all of a sudden have these fluctuations because we have these warm Pacific winds that come over the Rockies. So we're going from plus 10 one day to minus 30, minus
Yeah.
20, and they're constantly putting salt on the roads. So every fall I'll polish off whatever residue or remaining residual coatings there will be, and I'm going to try the graphene, and I'm going to see. Like, I've used probably 5 different coatings on my car, maybe 3.
Yeah.
Well, no, my other car I use coatings. I have a lot of experience in seeing by spring how things are going.
Yeah.
But yeah, like from what I'm hearing from people, they're saying it's a very long protection. But like,
From my experience is that a lot of the products are hyped up, and it's a marketing game for a lot of the people selling. So it's I'm always skeptical when there's something new, but of course there's probably some chemist somewhere behind it that actually has a chemical view on it and not a marketing view. And that's sort of I try to ground myself with the thought that, okay, some really smart guy has probably made this and he knows it's good, but some other people are sort of abusing that and using it as a way to earn money and make it a 10-year ceramic coating or a 10-year graphene coating.
yeah, and then you've got installers possibly not doing it the way the chemist thought it would be
Yeah.
done. You've got different paints, different conditions. Yeah,
And then you have people washing their cars with acid and God knows what they use to wash.
yeah, this is
So
interesting. I haven't bounced this off anybody, but I had a comment a while ago about I notice on a lot of the trim on, especially the soft rubberized trims on cars here, it goes gray in Calgary really
okay.
quick. And I've kind of like come to this conclusion that it has to do with, we use a lot of what we call touchless car washes, where you drive through, no brushes actually hit your car.
Yeah.
It's just really high pressure water
Yeah.
and really strong soaps. And I don't have any of that happening on my car ever. And I've never used one of those with this car. But my other car, I used to think touchless was really one of the only solutions for the winter. And then I said to somebody in a video, one of my washing chats, that I think the reason a lot of the trim fades is because of the strong corrosive soaps that the commercial car washes use. And then some YouTuber was like, what are you talking about? The soaps you detailers use are way stronger than the ones used at car washes. And I was like,
No, I don't know how they run stuff in Canada, but when it comes to, this was also something I wanted to ask you about. Here in Norway, we have a particular way of washing our cars that is pretty much unheard of in the States and in a lot of European countries, because we have a I'll get to the thing you're talking about, but to take it from the bottom, we have a lot of asphalt roads in Norway.
Right.
We have a lot of not so good gravel roads as well, but the asphalt roads, they have a composition in the asphalt that is particular for the Norwegian climate. That is, it's a lot softer than what you have, say, in Germany. So we need to use a lot of oil-based degreaser. It's I don't know what it's called in English, but it's a naphtha or white spirit, whatever it's called. So it's basically a distillate of petroleum that we put on the car from the bottom and up to the windows to remove the asphalt and tar, and also to help solve the salt from the winter. Because the thing is, a problem in the wintertime here is that we have the dirt accumulating in the road is a product from the salt melting the ice and the snow and everything, and then it bonds with metals and all sorts of nasty stuff that's in the road, and this gets thrown onto the paint. So in order to get that solved, you can't use only water, because then it won't bite on the compounds or the mixture of dirt, etc. So we're having to use this oil-based degreaser. And then on top of that, we often use an alkaline pre-wash, which is probably the thing you're talking about. But this rubber, is that sort of the rubber you have between the paint and maybe the chrome or the black list?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of times around the windows,
Yeah.
It's a little bit more flexible, and it creates that strong seal when you shut your doors and your windows.
Yeah. I personally haven't seen this problem in Norway, and we probably are doing. I know we have a lot of heavy degreasers. They have alkaline pre-washes that has a pH value of 12, 13, 14 that we use in our what's it called?
Sorry, my garage
washes.
door is going up and down right now.
Yeah.
My son went skateboarding, so it's
no
kind of noisy, and it's almost shut.
Yeah, that's no worries.
It's fascinating. I thought we had it bad in Canada. This sounds way worse. Go on.
Yeah, but the main thing we see here is that the chrome, well, it's not actually chrome, it's a crappy substitute because of the regulations, but the material used around the windows and on trim, the chrome-ish plastic is easily damaged by the alkaline pre-washes. So in order for us to have
what way? Like, does it start to peel, or does it pit?
It sort of, it gets matte spots, and it has it looks sort of yeah, it's harder to explain, but it doesn't have the it doesn't look equal all along the entire length. It has some spots that are matte, and then it's maybe has a bit of greenish shimmer to it, and then it's the way it's supposed to be. So it looks really bad.
There's nothing, you can't polish it. It just sort of becomes its composition.
You can, but you have to use a rotary and a spot pad and have a couple of hours to spend, because it's a goddamn hard material to polish. So, and this is something we see when people use the touchless car washes, because the thing is, those systems are built to give you as clean of a good clean as possible without touching the car, and in order to do that, you need to use strong chemicals. And
yeah, it's just easy math, right?
Yeah, you can't make a car look like clean because it's not clean, but it looks like clean without having strong chemicals. You can't use a pH neutral foam to get that effect. It's not possible.
No.
So, but I don't know about the rubber gaskets and rubber. That's not something I've seen, but I guess it could be an effect of it might be you have a different composition of the products that are normal to use. It's
yeah, well, I remember I was in an Audi dealership showroom, and I noticed it. I took a picture, I put it on my Instagram. The trim just around the window on the same car as mine, the Audi SQ5, had been like almost like gray water spots.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so the water spots tells me that it had something to do with rain or washing. I think it's just cheap commercial soap that doesn't rinse away well. Maybe it's got sort of like a lime, like it's got that lime, Lyme sort of chemical nature to it that just sort of etches into the rubber. I get why people just give up on.
I'm trying to find the image in your Instagram, but
Yeah, it
Oh,
would be
good, good.
way back. It'd probably be over a year ago. You're probably looking hundreds of posts back. It's just a picture of here. Maybe I can even. But it
It's
was. It's concerning to me when a brand new car can come here, comes off the boat, gets off the
yeah,
train, and within a couple weeks, you've already got
yeah, it's
irreversible damage.
yeah.
Um,
I guess it's partly because of the regulations that the producers or the manufacturers have to comply with the environmental friendly processes of doing the surface coatings and the treatment of the different materials. It's impossible for them to fulfill all those requirements and make a surface that withstand all those
yeah,
harsh
yeah,
chemicals.
yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, and as a perfectionist, when someone brings me a car and it's a difficult decision to say, listen, this black trim is not going to look brand new no matter what we do.
you
And
need
I
to
hate
replace it.
admitting that kind of defeat, right? Like
Yeah,
we can gloss it up, we could put some kind of dressing on it, but at the end of the day, its color is gone.
yeah, yeah.
And besides replacing it or somehow repainting it, you know,
The
it's a shame.
the best way I think is to probably put PPF or colored film on it from the get-go and have it protected from day one, probably,
Yeah.
because then you don't have the same
Yeah,
effect
I've
on
been
it.
saying for a while to people, the next car I get will be completely PPF'd.
Yeah.
But then that brings about a whole other challenge because then, let's say you get a scratch in your PPF. Do you PPF your PPF?
Yeah.
Like, am I going to be back to the installer every month going, oh, see this bumper, re-PPF it, like, and then am I going to ceramic coat the PPF? Yeah. And then, it's just this never ending.
Yeah, yeah. You probably have to sell off your car and just buy an electrical bicycle or something.
Well, that's the joke. All my friends, they know how into cars I am and how into cleaning I am. They're like, your son's going to grow up and ride a bike. And I was like, stop it. Don't you ever say that again. He's going to be like you Europeans with the bread in the basket and
Yeah. Oh,
off to
that's
the
in
forest.
France.
Not my son.
We here in Norway we have the mopeds and the scooters. That's
Oh, is that a big
more
thing there?
common. I guess we have these sort of moped cars. If you're not able to drive a car, you can have a certificate for a moped car that goes 45 kilometers an hour. It's like a small, imagine half a mini Morris or something.
I think I know what it is. It's got a little bit of a roof,
Yeah, but
but it's
it's
open on the
actually
sides.
it's not like a wheelchair with a roof. It's like a half a car, so it's pretty big, and it has a engine in it. It makes a one hell of a noise.
You'll have to send me a pic, or I can
Yeah,
Google it
yeah.
later. Yeah,
Would be interesting to detail one of those.
yeah, yeah.
Probably a quick job because it's not that big. So, but when it comes to the washing process, do you have or do you use alkaline pre-washes in your normal washing process?
No,
How do you
not
tackle the
really.
salts?
So, um, the people that I work with and myself take good care of our cars, right? So I've never used an alkaline pre-wash. I do use now an insect spray because in the summer the insects are bad. I'm sure they are there too.
Yeah.
But even those cars that come to me with a lot of insects on them, they haven't been on there for days and days. They've been on there for a day or two. So I still use a spray that sort of loosens the bug guts, and then I spray that off with my pressure washer. But a lot of the cars I work on, I could go straight from, I could just give it a quick rinse and I could go to a 2-bucket wash with my wool wash mitt. Yeah. But it's not a heavy, in the winter with the salt and like the thick mud that has the salt, I will usually I'll use like an Optimum no rinse and I'll just pre-rinse it with that. And then I'll pressure wash that off before I foam it. And once I rinse off the foam, the car's pretty much 95% clean. And then I finish with a 2-bucket wash to get that last 5% of it off. So that's probably the biggest jobs is like when the car's been a month without a car wash during the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fascinating because are you the Optimum Norins? I know this product, but I haven't really been using it a lot. Is it do you spray it on, or do you work with
Yeah,
it
so
with
I
a
have one of
towel?
those pump sprayers.
Yeah.
And this is all like, I've learned this from comments from viewers. So I perform rinseless washes in the winter. I've done some that probably make people cringe. I've used rinseless wash on a car that really should not have any. There should be no one has any business doing a rinseless wash because the dirt is about that thick.
Yeah.
The paint on my car is so swirl free. It is so swirl resistant. It's Daytona Gray Pearl by Audi. I swear to God, it's the best paint color ever made. It's so durable. It looks so good when it's clean, and it's hard to scratch. So I use a rinseless on that, and I just pressurize it with a little continuous sprayer, and I'll spray one panel at a time, and I'll towel off the dirt. No marks, no swirls. No matter what you say, YouTube troll, there are no swirls on my car when I perform a rinseless wash. Now, I've had cars in the past. I had a Pontiac G8 back in 2008. That car, if you performed a rinseless and there was just a little tiny piece of dust, would scratch because it was such soft, low quality clear coat. So yeah, ONR is a pretty good pre-rinse. I'll do that and follow it up with a pressure washer. It's a pretty versatile product. Adams makes their own version of it, which I think
Yeah.
is almost as good, if not the same. Um, I'm not one of these people that loves to compare products and like let's look at 16 different metrics to find out which tire dressing is the best. Like I kind of feel like I'm a bit easy that way. If
Yeah.
it performs its function, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's one that performs it better for you. Maybe there's one that isn't, but I'm not in a constant search for the latest, greatest, whatever.
Yeah. It's
If I've
all
used
like,
the product for years and been happy with it, I stick with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I guess that's a healthy way to look at it, because then you're not measuring yourself in detailing products, as a lot of people are doing, or it seems
Yeah.
that they
And
are.
it saves a lot of time and a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely, and space.
Yeah. So
Wow.
a few years ago, a couple of the guys at Adams, you're familiar with Adams polishes in
Yeah,
Norway.
they're not really the store that has Adams in Norway isn't really active, so they're not present on the scene. But everyone, or most of the people in the detailing scene in Norway, knows about them.
Yeah, that was me. That was me 3 years ago. I knew about them. I had a couple products, but then the team just sort of reached out to me and said, "Hey, listen, we really love your videos. We'd love to send you some Adams products." Now, they probably wanted to see those Adams products used in a video, but they didn't come out and say it. But that's what I do. So I
Yeah,
used them in the video. Next thing I know, I started to really enjoy them. And
yeah,
this past weekend, I kind of found a few Adams products that I don't really love and I don't really need, but I'd say 98% of them, they get the job done. But I constantly field these comments about, why don't you get real products? This product's better. Why do you have that? That's crap. And I'm just so over that, right? Like, it's sort of like going back to junior high school where it's like, whatever backpack you purchased, there's some kid who thinks that backpack sucks. It's kind of the mentality that I don't subscribe to anymore. So when people ask me what's the best iron remover or what's the best tire dressing, I'll like, what are you using? Oh, I'm using this one. Is it working for you? Yeah, then it's the
yeah.
best.
So the what you're saying is that the products doesn't really, well, they have to do their work, but it's not a big thing what kind of brands you use. But you found a lot of good products that you prefer in Adams, and I guess so for you, if you want to pull forward one brand, it's Adams, from what I get out of
This
it.
time, yeah, it's not. There's so much that went into my Adams decision. So when I look at, and I've always been like this, I used to be a big collector of Oakley sunglasses. And I had like one of the world's most extensive collections of Oakley sunglasses. I was kind of Oakley famous, and
Cool.
like it's a whole other obsession. I
Yeah.
moved away from that, and then the garage took over. And when I met the guys online from Adams, and we started to hit off this relationship, and they were helping me equip my garage with all these Adams products, I was like, I really like Adams. I
Yeah.
like the team. I like the look of it. I like the ethos of the company. I like that the founder, I remember seeing the founder on late night television doing these like, hey guys, do you like cleaning your car? And I was like, I remember him. Like I
Yeah.
remember Adam Patali doing that 20 years ago. In fact, I was watching I was watching Sopranos. I went back and watched all the Sopranos episodes, and there is a Sopranos episode where one of the characters is talking, and in the background a TV is playing, and it's Adam from Adam's Polishes doing one of his late night infomercials. And I was like, oh my God. I like the way it looks in my garage. It suits my theme, and the
Yeah.
damn products work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's more, and that's probably like that's probably making some people cringe because they believe like if you're going to have a tire cleaner, you need to have a tire cleaner that is the best tire cleaner. And I'm like, I have a tire cleaner by Adams that cleans the bloody tires.
Yeah. It
So
does the job.
whatever you're talking about there being a better one, I don't know how cleaner they can get. Like if I can lick a tire and I can't taste anything, it's damn clean, you know? So, but when I first started this garage, I was like, I like shelves and I like inventory. I like it. I get that from my dad. He was a collector. He likes having his things. So you could see in the background, like I like that.
Yeah.
And I don't
Looks nice.
apologize for that. If you don't like that, fine. But I like the way things look. And if they work, that's even better. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. Like it's equal. Like
Yeah, but it's because as a detailer, I guess you have a special eye for, well, it's a curse a lot of the times, but it's also a gift being able to see all the details that say the normal people can't see. And I guess it's so being into the aesthetics of how products look and how they make you sort of feel, it's not very uncommon. I can appreciate that.
yeah, it's a whole experience of using a product from like the time you research it, you buy it, you look at it online. You like
Yeah.
the website, you like the way it was packaged, you like the way the guys will email you and talk to you and ask questions. So one company that I'm really following right now that I love, here's a free plug for Ethos. This is a guy named Tim out of Southern California who he's a mobile detailer, and then I think he created his own detailing business called Adonis Detailing, and he's doing what I think all of us want to do is like he's starting his own line of products.
Yeah.
And I bet he is reading so much science and he's learning so much and he's putting out these products and he's out there on the internet answering questions about it. So I want to support guys like that.
Yeah.
I want to try those new products, but I also don't want to try every new product because otherwise I go broke. And
Yeah, you don't have time for that. And you also run out of space in the garage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like when I first really got into, there's a whole bunch of professional grade detailing products out there. I was spending money on Auto Geek. There's a couple of retailers here in Canada, and I was packing cabinets with 75 different products that all do the same thing. And I was like, ooh, this is awesome. And then
Yeah.
I sort of said, I need to simplify. I want to have one product that I like. Okay, maybe 2 or 3, but not 5 or 6 or 10, you know? So,
but I guess the good thing about, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
I guess the good thing about having that many products is you can bring even more products without the wife even noticing.
That's right. She's like, oh, I can't keep track.
Yeah, impossible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have a very, very close relationship with the guy that owns the detailing store in our city.
Yeah.
So like you, he has a retail store and he has a few employees, and he's been really great to me. He gives me a nice little discount to keep me coming back, and he's been able to give a discount to anyone who uses my name or the name RAD Garage. And
that's cool.
He's such a great guy. Like it's just, he's not, his agenda is he just wants to sell as many detailing products to people and keep them happy detailing. And it's just, it's nice to support people like that.
I guess I think what we're seeing here in Norway is a lot of the passionate, the sort of say the true stores. They are going more and more away because the bigger stores are coming in. But when it comes to car care products, I think it's still a pretty small niche. So you don't have you have some bigger manufacturers, but it's not being taken over in the same way as a lot of the other electronics and fashion and all that stuff. So it's
it's good. Yeah, it's still normal. You're saying it's still pretty small businesses.
Yeah,
people businesses.
But we're seeing our store is online. We have a pickup point that you can visit in Oslo and pick up stores, but it's a online store. Physical, most of the attention is on the web store. So being having especially now in the pandemic, it's better to have a web store than have a physical,
Yeah.
because people don't. I guess they go out, but they don't really do it that much.
Yeah, no, shopping used to be a Canadian pastime that,
not anymore.
Now it's picking up again, but sadly, a lot of people didn't survive it.
Can you do groceries online in Canada?
Well, so you can. My wife and I, we place an order online for groceries, and then I just have to drive there and pick it up.
Yeah.
There are services where it will get delivered to your house, but here in Canada, they say we'll be somewhere. We'll be there sometime Tuesday. And it's like, I need a little bit more of a Tuesday when it's light out. So most people still go to the grocery store and pack their own groceries in their car and drive it home. But but it's interesting because Chris at Cardzilla does a lot of online business. He's kind of Canada's #1 online retailer, and when I go visit him, I'm lucky that he's in the same city as me. I walk in there and it's just like all these boxes that are going to Burlington, Ontario, Maple Ridge, BC, and then there's just maybe one or two customers per hour that actually come to the store.
And you're like a kid in a candy store, I guess.
Oh, it is. The first time I went there, I was expecting this big store, like the electronic stores you were talking about. I thought this store could probably fit in my garage. And it's packed with such an awesome array. Like you can look anywhere and there's a very high quality product. He vets his store so well and only really carries things that have a good reputation. So yeah, that's really helped really fuel my passion, is that I have this retailer that is so personable and supportive, and he's so close.
What is it? It's a bit of change of subject, but what is the favorite sort of detailing task, or what is it you like the most when you detail a car?
Oh yeah.
Is it going out and getting the products, or is it driving the car for getting it washed? Is it washing it? Is it what part is it?
Yeah. You know what? For me, I think it is when I'm all finished. And I'm, things sometimes go perfectly the whole time. Sometimes they don't. I'm all finished. I'm tired. And I sit down after, I'll have a drink and I'll sit down at my computer and I download all the footage. And I start putting that footage in. It kind of takes me back to the parts of the process that I really enjoyed. And I edit out when the hose got tangled around the tire, and when I swore because this window cleaner smeared when it shouldn't have. I feel like my videos romanticize what I went through, but then I can kind of sit back and I can only concentrate on the parts that I really enjoyed. And I'll tell you, when I rinse a car with a power washer, when I put the foam on, I usually, most times I'll pressure wash that foam off. But then I'll do the 2-bucket wash. I use a soft rinse. And I just sit back and I watch the water hitting the car. And I know that car is now 100% clean, because I've gone through those 2 processes. And I just love that. And the water and the sound of the water, I'm just like, this is awesome. And I also like drying the car. So I used to use only my car dryer, but recently I started using this really big fluffy drying towel. And when I drag that towel across and then I use my air dryer to get all the water off it, now I know it's perfectly dry. I find those things quite satisfying. I love it when the tire goes from being okay, like it's clean, and then you go over it with the dressing and now it's just like black like night.
Oh yeah.
I love that. I don't love vacuuming. I can see why a lot of people don't do interiors. You get salt that gets into the carpet, it becomes rock hard, and I think there's been one car in my whole time of detailing, I was able to get all the salt out of the carpet. For every other car, you have to give up at some point and say, I just can't get it all out. It's too deep. It's too old.
Do you have any special products on the market for dealing with the salt?
No. So I was I was saying to one of the guys, he's one of the product engineers at Adams. You need to have a salt remover, and you
Yeah.
need to have it Canadian approved, because I am still using vinegar and water, and I've there is something that I've picked up called Salt Eraser. It's just a
Yeah.
foaming cleaner. I've used Adams multi-purpose foaming cleaner. I can loosen the top level of the salt. I can break it down so that it goes back into like liquid form, and I can get it out with manual labor or with an extractor. But there is this hard encrusted bottom layer of salt that just basically bonds with the carpet fibers.
Yeah.
And I have yet to crack that. And I know people on the internet are like, oh no, you just need to do this and you do that, and then you 50 this and dilute that. And it's like, you don't know the kind of salt that I've seen in my, you don't know, it's like a sad song. You don't know the salty pain I felt.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law, God bless her, she just doesn't care about salt on her floor. So for 3 years, this salt had been compiling in this one spot, and it was harder than like marble.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is the bane of my existence. So I actually, in my car, I've cut up a black microfiber towel, and I put it around the edges where the floor mat is flat and the water can come over. I've got like protection there because I'm so paranoid about it.
Yeah. We do have some special products here in Norway, but I can't decide if it's a marketing trick to sell or if it's actually working.
Well, if you sell a product, you send it to me.
I don't, but
I'll pay it. And if it works, I'll make a whole video about it, because I have yet to find a salt product other than just good old vinegar.
but
I don't think anybody's come up with anything.
here in Norway, we have two of the biggest online stores. They launched, or one of the biggest online stores. They launched a product for dealing with salt, and I think I'm pretty sure it's actually an American product. I think it's called Salt Away or something like that.
Salt away?
Salt Away. There's probably different products for the. I think the origin of this is using on the trucks that salt the roads to prolong the lifetime of the car, so they don't have to invest in a new truck within 7 years. They can wait until it's 9 years to treat it with this. But then I've seen a study on it, and turns out that this stuff is so expensive to use that in order for it to have an effect, they need to use thousands of dollars worth of these chemicals to actually prolong the life, and then it's not really that much of a saving. But in your case, or in our case, it's not a matter of saving money or not having to replace the carpet. You just need to get the goddamn stain out. So it might actually work for that.
Well, maybe there's something out there. For me, it just comes down to, do I have 8 hours to spend on this one portion of the floor? No. So you're going to live with a little bit of salt.
Saltawayproducts.com. Website doesn't look really good, but that's the product that were launched here in Norway, and they sold bucket loads because they said it would help with removing the salt on the paint, etc. But I don't know. I'm not sold on it. I haven't tested it myself, but I have never had any problems getting the salt away from the paint.
No,
Carpets
I've never
is something else.
Yeah, to me it's carpets, and I think some cars' carpets are just worse. Part of the reason I really enjoy detailing Audis is I find the carpets are the easiest to clean. The paint is just super high quality.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. Like,
but wouldn't the solution be to put in rubber mats on the winter?
Well, we do have rubber mats, and I had at my other SQ5, I had 3 sets of winter mats from 3 different companies. But just depending on the design of how your floor is in your car, if you have so you've got the pedals on this side, you've got your feet on this side. So when you accelerate, obviously the water comes back, right? And a lot of Audis don't have a little lip. So the water will go right off these rubber mats, clear the rubber mats, and now it's underneath the seat in the carpet.
Okay.
It's just a bad design. Like, they need to consult with detailers when they design these cars and say, you need to develop, so where that seat is sitting, if you had like maybe 1 inch to 1.5 inches of some cars have this, right? So it
Yeah.
almost becomes like a dish. And so all the salt water can be contained. But when you run around in Calgary during the winter, you're slopping in snow, it melts. Then you get out of your car again, you get back in, there's a pound of snow on the bottom of your boots. So by the time you get home, there's probably half a liter of water swishing around. And if you park it in your garage, you go and live your life, you come back tomorrow, you've added another 500 milliliters of water to the tray of your no rubber mat.
Yeah.
Can like make that water go away. So
No.
I don't judge people. Like everyone's like, oh my God, people don't even love their cars. How, you don't know. Spend a week going to hockey practice with your kid, and all of a sudden a week later, you've gone in and outside of your car 20 times. You look and you're like, I got water all over the carpet. And then that water dries up, and what are you left with? The salt residue. So
Yeah, great.
it's a tough.
I guess
one.
we should probably move down south somewhere.
Yeah.
Where they don't have the salt.
Yeah, but they have snakes and earthquakes, right? So.
Oh yeah. What's worse than having a salt stain in your car? Yeah, a snake.
A snake. Yeah. I saw a video today. A guy on one of the Facebook groups for detailers went to a job, and there was a black widow spider who had caught a little baby snake in a web on the wheel arch of this car. And I was like, I'll take salt any day. No black widow spiders, little baby snakes. No thanks.
No, thank you.
No thanks.
Salt.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. I think you've emptied out my pile of topics, because you've sort of somehow you've sniffed a lot of them without me having to mention it, and that's
I talk a
that's
lot, so I kind of know where things are going. I have to say, you've done a really good job hanging in there. What is it, like 2 a.m. now?
Yeah, it's 2 a.m. I'm getting up in I need to be up in 4 hours to go to work. So,
well, I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you, Tommy. Thanks for working with my schedule. That was really nice of you.
Well, I guess the option was to have it in a couple of hours, but then for me it's worse getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning than staying up a couple of hours late. So I can manage a couple of hour nights without sleep, and I'm so lucky to have I've turned my hobby into my work. So for me, it's not I don't wake up in the morning and go like, oh shit, I have to go to work. It's like, hey, it's a new day, I can go do my hobby.
Well, you're living the dream. I think that's everything. We all aspire to not look at work as work.
I guess that's sort of, or at least if you can, I may think if you do something along the lines of what you do, if you have a hobby that sort of allows you to take that steam off in the evening and have a wife and a family that allows you to do whatever you need to do to get things done and clear out your head, that's a really good place to be. Living in a country that allows you to be a free individual and follow your dreams. It's
free, but with restrictions.
Yeah, of course. We would be. Do you say I noticed you said it earlier, but here in Norway, I have a saying that goes like it's completely Texas here. That if things are completely crazy, it's like Texas.
Oh, I don't know if we kind of pick on other parts of Canada before we start picking on.
Okay.
Like I might make a joke now and again about I live in small town Alberta, where there's really no rules. Nobody cares, right? Do what you do what you need to do to survive. But big city Calgary, small town Alberta.
Small town Alberta, where you have like a population as in the entire of Norway.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised. 5.5 million. I would have thought you guys were at 25 million people.
The first Norwegian that the guy that came here first, he was probably insane. Who the hell would go that far up north in a country that has no real value? It's just mountains, and you can grow potatoes. You can grow potatoes. That's about the only thing you can grow, more or less. I'm exaggerating a bit, but there's nothing really, and you know for sure that within the next 10,000 years, Norway is going to be gone because of the next ice age. So it's a good thing that we're thinking about the climate, as you said, but for what use?
Yeah. Well, I'll learn a little more about Norway. You have me a little fascinated. I do know that your government has done a wonderful job of compiling its oil and gas wealth.
Oh yeah.
And we in Alberta, we spent it all, so we've got nothing to show for it really. So maybe you could send us a couple $100 billion, maybe.
I think the Corona has sort of had a jab at the oil fund. I'm not political.
Well, you might be one of the only countries in the world that was able to draw funds to cover it, because I know we're not drawing funds. We're borrowing.
I think the thing I see here now in Norway is that society is turning slowly back to normal, and that even though we might have a new wave, the society will not lock down and will not be in the same way. But the biggest problem is the people that doesn't care. In Norway, it's a thing to go to Sweden to shop for beer and bacon and all kinds of stuff for some people, but then you can save maybe 20% of what you spend. So going to Sweden in this period has been more or less banned, and people are like, come on, I want to go to Sweden and buy beer and bacon. And it's like, really?
Yeah, you can live without your cheap beer and your bacon for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's like
little bit longer. Yeah, I've heard it referred to as Corona fatigue. We're tired of it. This is boring. I want to do what I want to do. So we've had an uptick in cases between the 20 to 29 age range, because those people want to get out, they want to socialize. I get it. I'm so glad I'm not in that age range, because it would be really hard to just all of a sudden have your social life disappear. But for me, I'm still in my garage.
I think a lot of the people in that age group, they're spoiled with having everything they want. So once they have some of that stuff taken away, it's hard for them to tackle it, I guess.
They're like, we're the generation that is sacrificed the most. Can it be over now? Yes. Yeah. Okay. You don't have to sacrifice anymore. Okay, because I didn't want to sacrifice for this long.
Yeah.
This is 2 really
weeks was enough. Awesome.
I love picking on other generations.
Rick. I think it's been a great time chatting with you. Thank you so much for taking time out of a family life.
Yeah, complete pleasure, man. Complete pleasure.
Really fun. I don't have my plan is to put the audio up on. I haven't created a channel yet, but I have a Norwegian speaking podcast for detailing. But I'll make a separate podcast channel for the English one. It's not a point for me to have the most listeners. I just want to have, as I said, peek into the brains of some of the people I see on the internet and have a chat. And
I love it.
Have a good time.
Love it. If no one else even sees it, I just had a good time getting to know you and chatting with you, Tommy. It's really cool to connect with people. And I just got to say, I don't know, there's a part of me that just wishes I was European. Norwegian, Swedish, Belgian, probably not Dutch. But, I'm just kidding. I've got so many awesome Dutch viewers these days, but it's nice to have a touch of Europe.
Yeah, but I think you have that in Canada. You have a European car. I think you have a touch of European in Canada.
Oh, we do. I'll tell you, where I live, this city I live in is so in love with Audis specifically. Yeah. I was in LA a few years ago, and I was there for probably 3 or 4 days, and I saw maybe a handful of Audis.
Yeah.
By the time I had left the airport in Calgary, I had seen 10 times that many. It's an alpine climate. We've got the justification for spending a little more on an all-wheel drive quattro vehicle.
Yeah.
It's got that mountain sort of lifestyle feel to it. So I live in a city that is very North American in many ways, but when it comes to cars, like European cars here are just flying out. They're flying out the doors of the dealerships. Like, it's pretty interesting.
Here in Norway, Teslas are the big thing.
Teslas are catching on here huge too.
Yeah, because of the price.
Do you like Teslas?
No.
I don't like them. I don't think they look good.
Well, I think it's fun. It's like if you drive a Model S with the ludicrous mode, you're like, what the hell just happened? But then that's about it.
I can go to the carnival and take a bungee cord. I want a car that's got good looks and it's got some history to it. I don't know. Give them 20 years, who knows? We might all be driving Teslas, but
I'll probably be on the moon by then, but yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
Rick. I'll just.
All right. Well, hey, listen, Tommy, I'll let you go because I could see, man, you are getting tired.
I am. I'll stop the recording and then we can round it off from there. Thanks to
Sounds good.
anyone listening or watching. Thank you for sticking out with us. It's been a pleasure talking with you, Rick, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.
See ya.